Well, I guess if you're going to go for a Beatle album, this is one that Ringo and all the rest were kind of proud of. John expressing his full emotion in the Primal Scream Therapy with Arthur Janov, kind of a psychiatrist from New York or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, the Plastic Ono Band, Yoko. There was another one made with just where these two changed places. Yoko albums, band album, where Yoko's doing the opposite of what John's doing there. She's on this place where John is, and John's up by the tree. But anyway, this is John's album. This is the one I'd recommend. Yoko Ono one is, you have to be with Yoko Ono, not to want to listen. But anyway, John Lennon Plastic Ono Band is the one that kind of has mother, all that stuff. You had me and I had you, all that kind of stuff where he talks about his aunt. Well, his aunt, he's raised by his aunt Mimi, etc. Everybody knows the story, where it's almost become like John Lennon's the new Messiah, of the world kind of thing. Certainly he wrote great songs, Imagine, and the Primal Scream album was full of pain, actually. And of course, Imagine was a wonderful album. He had the luxury of actually being rich enough to enjoy trying to be real enough to find his pain and all that. Other people don't have that luxury, but fame and all that stuff destroyed his life, basically. I mean, it's what he saw, and at first it was money and fame and all that. That's what he was after, and in the end it became his death, and of course he was murdered and all the rest of it, till he's almost the new Messiah of the 1980s, but because he was shot. But the point is, this album expresses all the pain, and which he believes most people suffer, and in the world on some level or another. An album about pain, I mean, artists tend to do that, but this one's very real and raw, and because of that, most of the critics, etc., everybody else thinks this is the album to have. Now, I think every song is pretty good. Some are quite simple. Mother is so mindless. If you played it on the piano, it's a mindless piece. I remember a friend of mine playing it. It was just so mindless. And but that's not the point. The point is it expresses the emotion, the feeling, etc. that he has, and the alienation and all that sort of stuff. So this was a down-to-earth, nitty-gritty, they say, album. You're either going to love it or hate it. It doesn't compare to an album like Imagine, which has a lot more. It's sophisticated. Imagine. George Harrison plays in that one. George doesn't play in this one, as far as I know. Only Ringo plays in this album, and John just does this macabre sort of sound that many people are imitating. But if you're going to get a Beatle album, this is the one to get. John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band, a solo album. This is the one that was not a hit album for him, and this is the first one that EMI had to put an asterisk where he swore in the album, I guess. But anyway, the point is, this is the album that really is the one that expresses more depth of feeling than probably, I guess, most artists I've ever heard out there, really, when you think about it. I mean, this one's full of perception of pain and alienation from society and alienation from their own world and all the rest of it. Like they say that John Lennon wanted to be Jesus with a guitar. That was often said by a lot of people. That's what he wanted to be. And he certainly got the Messiah complex, I guess, came out there when he was shot. But this album expresses at the end the pain of losing his mother in a cryptic piece called My Mother's Dead, My Mummy's Dead, and it also expresses the emotion of feeling from coming off drugs and all this sort of stuff. It's your usual sort of heavy, pretty heavy stuff on this stuff that's been copied by other artists as far as electrically. But you can see all the reviews of these things, and you can find all that out for yourself. I listened to it as a young boy. It's very strong. I think it's his strongest emotional album he's ever done. And the most raw emotion any artist has probably I've ever heard done for a whole album, I guess. And it's a real album, so it's a real raw album. So I suggest get that one for interest's sake.